She picked a coin in front of a shrine. What followed next would change her forever. What seemed like an ordinary act became the key to a forgotten curse, a test of honor, and the awakening of a spirit that had waited 300 years. Sit back, my friend. This is the story of Anuli, the girl by the Emba River. In the village of Umuaka, nestled between the green belly of the forest and the calm curves of the Emba River, life moved to the rhythm of the earth. Here, children rose with the crow of the rooster, the men went to the farms, the women stirred pots with firewood crackling, and elders sat beneath the ancient Udara tree, telling stories older than the sky. But not Anuli. Anuli was not like the other girls her age. She was curious, headstrong, always wandering into places she shouldn't, always asking why. Anuli, you ask too many questions. Anuli, stay where the gods can see you. But Anuli's spirit was like water, it flowed where it wanted. That fateful morning began like any other. The sun was still waking, casting gold across the yam fields. Anuli had volunteered to take food to her mother at the farm. Instead of following the dusty main path, she decided to take the shortcut, the one her grandmother had strictly forbidden. It passed through the back of the old forest, skimming the edge of something the villagers didn't like to talk about, the Nzu shrine. Roof. No walls. Just an old stone platform wrapped in thick roots and thyme, and a half-buried statue of a faceless woman. Some said it was the goddess Ejimok, protector turned prisoner. Others said it was just a rock. But everyone agreed on one thing: you must never go near it. That day, the forest was still, too still. No birds sang, no breeze moved. Even the insects were silent, as if the trees were holding their breath. As Anuli stepped near the shrine, she felt it, the weight of unseen eyes, the chill of ancient air. And there it was, a coin, lying right in front of the shrine. It was not like the cowries used in trade, nor the shiny coins given by city visitors. Number. This coin glimmered strangely, even in the shade. It was round, heavy, and made of a silver metal that seemed to hum softly. On one side was a strange marking, a seven-legged spider with a crack running down his back. Anuli bent down slowly. Her heart said, "Leave it." Her curiosity whispered, "Pick it up." And so, she did. The moment her fingers touched the coin, a gust of wind blew through the trees, though no leaf moved. The air thickened. Somewhere deep in the forest, a single drumbeat echoed low, distant, like the heart of something old awakening. Her ears rang. The light dimmed for just a moment, and then silence. Anuli's hands trembled. She looked around, half expecting someone to appear from behind the trees, but no one came. The shrine stood still, cold and ancient. She slipped the coin into the fold of her wrapper and ran. That night, as the village prepared for sleep, Anuli couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. The goats refused to eat. Her little brother cried for no reason. Even her mother, usually full of laughter, moved with a strange heaviness. But worse was the dream. Anuli found herself standing in front of the shrine again, but it was different now. Burning, glowing, with blue fire. The statue's face was no longer blank. It was alive, with eyes of flame and hair like smoke. From its mouth came a voice, not loud, not soft, not even human. Return what is not yours, or lose what is. Anuli woke up, drenched in sweat, heart pounding like a djembe drum. She checked her wrapper. The coin was still there. She should have been relieved. She wasn't. Morning came slow to Umuaka after that restless night. Anuli's eyes were heavy, her steps slow as she walked to the river to fetch water. But even the river seemed different, darker, quieter. The villagers noticed, whispered, "Have you seen the water? It's cloudy. Anuli's shadow follows her even when the sun is high. Something is wrong with that girl." Even Anuli felt it deep inside, something unseen, something watching. At the well, when Anuli reached down to draw water, the bucket came up full, but the water was murky, swirling with strange shadows. She spilled it quickly, afraid. Back at home, her mother frowned. "Go wash your hands, the spirits may touch you," she warned. Anuli wanted to explain about the coin, about the dream, about the weight on her chest, but words tangled like vines. She kept it secret. But secrets are heavy in Umuaka. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Anuli's grandmother, Mama Ijeoma, called her to sit by the fire. The old woman's eyes were sharp, deep pools of knowing. "Anuli," she said quietly, "tell me what you have done." Anuli hesitated. Then, trembling, she pulled the coin from her wrapper. Mama Ijeoma gasped, clutching her chest. "Nwata M, this is no ordinary coin. This is the seal of Ejimok, the spirit trapped in the shrine centuries ago. It was meant never to be touched, never to be moved." She looked deep into Anuli's eyes. "Long ago, our ancestors wronged Ejimok. They trapped her anger, her power, inside the shrine. The coin is the key, and you have taken it." Anuli's heart pounded louder than the fire crackling. "Why did you take it?" Mama Ijeoma asked. Anuli whispered, "I didn't mean to. I just saw it lying there." Mama Ijeoma shook her head slowly. "The spirit's anger will not rest while the seal is broken. You must prepare yourself." Days passed. The sickness began. The goats became thin and weak, their eyes dull. The yam fields wilted under the noon sun. The river's once clear water grew thicker. At night, Anuli's dreams worsened. She saw the faces of villagers twisted in pain, the river running red. Whispers filled the air when the moon rose, soft voices murmuring secrets in the old tongue, voices only Anuli could hear. "Return it, or suffer. The river remembers. The land will judge." Even her friends avoided her, afraid of the curse she carried. One evening, as she sat beneath the Udara tree, the shadows themselves seemed to reach for her, moving like fingers through the air. She cried out, "What do you want from me?" The wind answered, cold and cruel. The village elders met under the giant baobab tree. The Obi, the village chief, spoke gravely. "The curse of Ejimok has awakened. Our land is sick. Our people are in danger." They called for the oracle, the seer of the spirits, to find a way to save Umuaka. The oracle, a blind woman wrapped in white cloth, came with smoke and chants. After hours of ritual, she spoke. "The seal was broken. The spirit's wrath will not be quenched by words or fear. Only one can walk the path to the three faces of Amuta, ancient guardians in the forbidden forest. Only she who broke the seal may offer herself in penance." The crowd gasped. "Who will it be?" the Obi asked. Anuli stepped forward, voice steady despite the fear. "I will go." No one in Umuaka had ever dared walk into the forbidden forest. The stories were clear. Those who entered never returned. But Anuli, with the coin heavy in her palm, knew this was the only way. Her fate was tied to the spirits Ezi Blank, all daughters. And the journey was about to begin. The village was restless, the air thick with fear and hope. Anuli prepared for her journey. She wrapped herself in white cloth symbol of peace and packed a small calabash of water, some dried yams, and the silver coin that had changed everything. Mama Ijeoma gave her a small charma carved wooden figure wrapped in cloth. "This will protect you from the spirit's deceit," she said, eyes filled with worry. "Remember, Anuli, the forest is alive. It watches, it tests." As the sun rose, the villagers gathered to see her off. Some prayed quietly, others wept openly. The Obi stepped forward, placing a hand on Anuli's shoulder. "May your courage bring us peace, and may Ejimok's wrath find mercy in your heart." With that blessing, Anuli stepped into the shadow of the forbidden forest. The trees closed around her like a cathedral of green. Every sound was magnified: the rustle of leaves, the distant cry of a bird, the whisper of the wind. After hours of walking, the sun was a distant memory. She came upon the first challenge, the blind hunter. An old man, blindfolded, emerged from behind a twisted tree. "You walk with the coin of the trapped spirit," he said softly. "To pass, you must hunt without sight, and trust your heart." Anuli's hands shook as she held her spear. The hunter whispered instructions. "Listen, feel, move." At first, she stumbled, but then, in silence, she sensed a movement, a rustle, a breath. She threw her spear blindly and caught a small hair. The hunter smiled. "You have the spirit, the patience. Go forward." Further in, the forest grew darker. The path twisted into a hollow where the air was thick with sorrow. There, Anuli found the weeping Tria giant baobab that oozed red sap like tears. The tree spoke to her mind. Look into the past, child. See what greed and betrayal brought upon your people. Visions swirled, ancestors breaking sacred oaths, stealing from Ejimoke, the goddess of the river and forest. She saw villages burned, families torn apart. Tears ran down Anuli's cheeks. We'll make this right, she whispered. After what felt like days, Anuli reached a clearing bathed in pale moonlight. There stood the three faces of Onwatching stone statues with three distinct expressions. One face laughed, wild and free. One cried, heavy with sorrow. One scowled, burning with anger. Suddenly, a cold wind whipped through the clearing. From the shadows, Ejimoke appeared tall and fierce, her eyes blazing with fire. Why do you come, child? She demanded. Anuli stepped forward, heart pounding. I took what was not mine. I disturbed your rest. But I come to ask for mercy for my people, for myself. Ejimoke's eyes softened for a moment, then flared. Your words mean little if your heart does not prove it. She raised a hand. The spirit's power surged. Anuli closed her eyes, ready to face whatever came next. Anuli stood frozen. The air was thick like smoke. Ejimoke, the spirit of vengeance and justice, towered before her, neither woman nor ghost, but something older than time. Her skin shimmered like moonlight on oil. Her hair danced like fire. Her voice wasn't just heard, it was felt like thunder inside the bones. You ask for mercy, Ejimoke said. But mercy is not given freely. You must earn it in the eye of the spirit. Suddenly, the ground trembled. The stone faces of Anwu cracked open, revealing a spiral staircase descending into darkness. Enter, child. The spirit's eye will see you truly. The statues whispered in unison, laughing, one weeping, one growling. Anuli took a breath, clutched her grandmother's charm, and stepped down into the spiral. As she descended, light vanished. Her torch flickered, then died. She was alone in the dark. She came to a room of still water like a black mirror stretching endlessly. A voice called, What do you see? Anuli looked down. No reflection. Again the voice, Who are you without what others see? Shadows rose from the water, shaped like Herbert Kruller. They laughed at her, mocked her mistakes, whispered her fears. You are nothing. You brought this curse. You are weak. Anuli fell to her knees. Then she remembered her grandmother's words. The spirit tests not your strength, but your heart. She stood. I am not perfect. I am afraid. But I take responsibility. I am here because I must be. The water shimmered. The shadows vanished. A path opened. The next chamber echoed with voices, not just whispers, but wailsmen, women, children. She heard her mother crying, her little brother calling for her, the villagers begging for help. The noise overwhelmed her. She covered her ears, but the voices grew louder, until silence and a single voice broke through. You cannot help them all. You can only choose one truth. Before her appeared three doors. One gold, one obsidian, one made of roots and vines. Each door represented a truth, escape, power, or sacrifice. She stepped toward the door, vines drawn by something deeper than fear or desire. Sacrifice. She stepped through. Inside stood Ejimoke, this time less furious, still powerful, but calm, watching. You have passed the eye, she said, and yet you still carry the seal. Anuli held out the coin. Then take it back, I am ready. Ejimoke raised her hand and the coin rose into the air, spinning, glowing with fierce blue light. Anuli's body shook. Pain, light, a burning inside her chest. Then, quiet. When Anuli opened her eyes, she was no longer in the underground chamber. She was back in the clearing beside the three faces of Anwu. But they were whole again. The trees were no longer menacing. They were vibrant, alive. and Ejimoke was gone. In her place stood a single white flower blooming from stone. Anuli knelt, touched it, and wept, not in fear, not in pain, but in peace. Anuli walked slowly through the forest, each step lighter than the last. The path that had once choked with shadows now bloomed with life-green leaves, bright flowers, bird song in the trees. The weight that had wrapped her heart like a cold vine was gone. In her hand, the coin had crumbled into dust, blown away by the wind. She returned to Umuaka, not as the girl who left, but as someone reborn. The village was silent as she stepped through the gates. The people stared, waiting. Had the curse ended? The yam fields were green again. The river had cleared. Even the goats, once sickly and wild-eyed, played and grazed in peace. Then someone cried out, "She did it! She faced the spirit and lived." The crowd erupted. Cheers, tears, voices lifted to the sky. Children ran to touch her hands. Elders nodded with solemn respect. Her mother held her tightly. "My child, you came back to us." Mama Ijeoma, eyes misty, whispered, "The gods will remember this day." Later, at the village square, the Obi raised his staff and addressed the people. "Let it be known throughout Umuaka and beyond that a child faced a spirit not with weapons or spells, but with heart and truth. Let her name be carved in our stories." They danced that night. Drums echoed into the hills. Fires burned high. Joy returned to the people. But as the celebration continued, Anuli stood quietly by the river. She looked into the water, now clear and calm. And for the first time since that day at the shrine, she saw her reflection again. But the story does not end there. Some say that at night, by the old shrine, a white flower still grows where the stone once stood. Some say it glows faintly under the moonlight. And on the wind, if you listen closely, you may still hear her voice. "Return what is not yours or lose what is." Anuli became a healer, a keeper of stories, a protector of balance between spirit and man. Her journey became legend, and the tale of the coin by the shrine was passed from mother to child, from elder to fire, through the ages. So, if you ever find yourself in a place where the air grows still and the forest goes quiet, look closely. Not all coins are gifts. Some are calls. Some are tests. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share